All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a market that's worth trillions of dollars today. But the real story here is a radical new idea. What if AI wasn't about replacing people, but about giving them superpowers? We're diving deep into the world of government contracting.
Okay, get ready for this number. $2.5 trillion. That's not a typo. That's how much money is spent every single year on U.S. federal contracts, plus all the state, local, and educational contracts, what people in the know call SLED. We're talking about a ridiculously huge opportunity here.
But here's the catch. A market that big comes with, you guessed it, mind-boggling complexity. It's not just one market. It's literally thousands of tiny, separate markets, all with their own crazy rules, their own websites, their own key players. It's a maze. So the big question is, how on earth does anyone even begin to navigate this thing efficiently?
So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll tackle that massive government maze. Then, we'll talk about AI. Is it a replacement or a superpower? We'll dig into a new human-controlled philosophy, check out a 9-phase winning blueprint, go inside something called the proposal factory, and wrap up by looking at how this could change the entire government marketplace. Let's get into it.
All right, first up, the 2.5 trillion government maze. You really have to get your head around the problem before the solution makes any sense. And trust me, it's a big one.
You know, a lot of people think it's just about one website, like sam.gov for federal stuff. No way. It's so much more complicated. We're talking over 75 different state portals, thousands of local ones, and on top of the federal rules, you've got 50 unique sets of state rules. It's insane. Throw in tons of competition and an industry that's, let's be honest, pretty skeptical of new technology, and it's just a perfect storm for confusion and, frankly, burnout.
Okay, so when things get this complex, you think technology is the obvious answer, right? But the second you say AI, what do most people think? Job losses, replacement. But what if? What if that's completely the wrong way to frame it?
So look at this. It really breaks down the two different ways of thinking. The old way, on the left, is all about AI as a replacement. The value proposition is, well, eliminate headcount. The reaction from your team? Fear. Am I going to lose my job? But look at the new framing on the right. Here, AI is about amplification. The pitch isn't about cutting jobs, it's about 10x in your team's productivity. And suddenly, that fear, it turns into excitement. It's not, will I lose my job anymore? It's, how do I get my hands on this superpower?
And this just nails it perfectly. Think Iron Man's Jarvis for government contractors, not Terminator, right? It's not about Skynet taking over. It's about giving your team an incredibly smart assistant, a Jarvis, that does all the grunt work, so the humans can do what they do best: think, strategize, and win.
So, that's the philosophy. Human-controlled AI. But how do you actually make it happen? How do you build that Jarvis? Well, it all starts with these core principles, which have been baked into a system called the Aliff process.
And this is the secret sauce right here. It's all about the mix. The AI does the heavy lifting, like 86% of the execution. We're talking the tedious research, the initial drafting, all those painful compliance checks. But that other 14%, that's the human strategy. And really, it's 100% human control over the big picture, the final calls, the stuff that really matters. That part never leaves human hands.
So here's the official definition of the Aliff process. A couple of key things to notice here. It's human-controlled and AI-powered. It's built for the entire life cycle, from start to finish. And it's designed to work for both federal and SLED. The whole point is to amplify your team's capabilities. We're talking 10x without replacing them. That's the promise.
Okay, a philosophy is great, a definition is great, but how does it actually work? How do you put this into practice? Well, it's all laid out in a super structured 9-phase blueprint.
Now, 9 phases can sound like a lot, but you can boil it down to 3 big stages. First, strategy and positioning. That's basically figuring out where should we even be competing. Next, you've got pursuit and capture. This is the heart of it, finding the opportunities and actually winning them. And last, there's execution and recompete. You've won, now you have to deliver. And just as important, you need to be planning to win that contract all over again down the road.
And here's the full breakdown. You can see how it goes all the way from where should we compete in Phase 1 straight through to deliver and prepare for the recompete in Phase 9. It's a complete end-to-end system, a repeatable playbook for winning in government contracting.
Okay, so we have the blueprint, but what's the engine that actually drives this whole thing? Let's go inside the proposal factory. This is all powered by a tech platform called Aliff Labs.
And really, factory is the perfect word for it. Don't think of Aliff Labs as just another piece of software. Think of it like a high-tech assembly line. It takes what is usually a pretty chaotic, messy process, writing a government proposal, and turns it into this super organized, station-by-station workflow. It's a factory for building winning proposals.
And just like a real factory, it has production stations, 7 of them. First, the proposal strategy gets fabricated at the draft station. Then it goes to scan for competitive recon. Next, measure checks it for compliance. This is cool. At test, an AI actually pretends to be a government evaluator and scores it. Then you tune the price, get it sealed with executive approval, and finally, you ship it. It's a full-on assembly line with quality control at every step to make sure you're building a winner.
So let's put it all together. You've got the human-controlled philosophy, the 9-phase process, and the Aliff Labs factory technology. What happens when you combine all that? Well, the impact is way bigger than just making your workflow a bit better. It completely changes the game. It creates a whole new government marketplace.
Remember that crazy complex SLED market with all its different rules and portals? By using AI to tame that complexity, a company isn't stuck just playing in the federal sandbox anymore. They can suddenly go after the entire $2.5 trillion pie. The potential market literally expands by almost 4 times. And here's the kicker. They can do it without having to hire 4 times as many people.
This chart really says it all. You look at the competition, GovCon is strong in federal, but not really SLED. BidSync is the opposite. Shipley is great, but it's a manual process. The Aliff process is the only one on the map that's built from the ground up, with AI to dominate both the federal and the SLED markets. It's in a category of its own.
Look, having this kind of capability is a massive competitive advantage. It's a total game changer. So the question really isn't if an AI-driven approach like this is going to transform government contracting. It is. The only real question is who's going to get there first. And that leaves every company in this space with a choice. Are you going to build this, or are you going to have to compete against the company that did?